So looking back at 2023, what will you remember in terms of world news? And what do you expect for 2024? Big question, right? For me, 2023 is just non-stop bad news. You go from one to the next, it's just overwhelming. Up to a point, you don't want to watch the news or hear anything anymore, right? But today I went through an article that I thought I would highlight a few things just to refresh our memories, given it's the end of the year, and what to expect in 2024. Because 2024 is a big election year, right? We all have the US elections in mind, Biden, Trump, but you realize that you got Russia in March that year, which is a huge election, and then you have others everywhere in the world as well, with democracy put at risk in a lot of countries. So let's just all go back. I'll give you just quick headlines here, and if you don't know me, I'm Anne, the little Frenchie in Big Texas. Welcome to the channel, but let's jump into it. Looking back at 2023 headlines. So we started the year from a US perspective with Kevin McCarthy elected House Speaker. So it took quite a lot of votes. If you remember, it was not a smooth election, and he didn't last a year, as we all know. But we started the year with that. Then February, just a few weeks after, remember that train derailment in East Palestine in Ohio? The Norfolk Southern train, with all the chemical spill, some of the waste being sent out to the north. I'm not sure if it was Wisconsin or Michigan, the rest in Texas. A big environmental mess, both for the air and the water on the ground, and just the first of a series of train derailments across the country, but probably one of the worst in terms of environmental damage. So what else did we have right there? Yes, it just reminds my memory, it's like, wow, yeah, that was 2023. We had the Chinese spy balloon. Remember? We had a few that flew across the US undetected. And then we actually shot a few afterwards. So what else did we have? March, we have the Silicon Valley and Signature Bank. Bankrupt, right? They were backed by the FDIC on this one. But yes, what else? March, end of March, Donald Trump becomes the first former president indicted of a crime. I think he got further indictment later in the year, right? So what else did we have here? Oh, May. COVID-19 no longer considered a global health emergency as per the WHO. That is actually one of the first good news we have for the year here. May, Title 42 expires as federal government tries to handle migration. And we all know it is not handled and it's not improving. It's actually going worse. As we speak here, we have a caravan that is in southern Mexico heading to the border with 8,000 people walking through Mexico in whatever conditions. It is not improving the migrant. And I'll come back to a little story after on migration here. They will not make it to the border, these ones, but it was interesting. June, I knew. Former President Trump indicted again, this time in federal court. I think that was the time when we all saw his profile picture. Remember, he tweeted it. That was a good tweet. It must have gone around the world. The Trump picture. June 2. Oh, yes, I forgot about that one. The Titan, remember? Yeah, the Titan submersible goes missing, likely implodes near Titanic. Yeah, it wasn't the hunt for Red October here. It was the hunt for the Titan, which apparently imploded on his way down to see the Titanic at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. July, the interest rates jumped to highest level in 22 years. Yes, unfortunately, and inflation is still pretty high, and we're not out of the water there yet. But yes, August, it was the wildfires in Hawaii. If you remember, they whipped out the town of Lahaina, killing. Here they mentioned 99 people, but I'm not sure if the number is that accurate. I was thinking a lot more. September, looking back at the summer, that's the climate one of the page. Summer 2023 declared the hottest on record. And from a Texas perspective, I can only agree this was just so hot. June, July, August with no rain. It was terrible here in Texas. So September, we got another indictment here. Well, charged by federal court, grand jury. It's Joe Biden's son Hunter that was indicted by federal prosecutors on 3 firearm charges. Well, that's without counting the computer. They should have analyzed and probably found more on foreign dealings, but September, end of September, the Baltimore Catholic Archdiocese, well, the Catholic Church filed for bankruptcy, but I think on that one, it's not really about bankruptcy. It's more about sexual abuse than bankruptcy that resulted in a bankruptcy, but behind it, 600 cases of child sex abuse over the past 60 years by 156 Catholic teachers, clergy, whatever. Not a pretty one here. At the end of September, we have the Senator of California, Dianne Feinstein, the longest-serving woman senator that dies at the age of 90. Yes. October, well, we're still ongoing. The Hamas launches a terror attack in Israel, and Israel responds with bombing Gaza. Yes, with 1,200 people dead in Israel, 248 people hostage. So some were released, some are still hostage, and it's still very much ongoing, and we're not sure how that's gonna end. End of October, gunman kills 19 in Lewiston, Maine in a shooting spree. Yes, another one. And what, yes, Xi and Biden meet November 14, trying to ease the tensions between China and the US. Not sure that was that successful. End of November, the former First Lady, Rosalind Carter, dies at 96. I think that's the article ends. It doesn't go into December, but December we can mention the Trump being banned from the ballots in Colorado and Maine, and probably more to come. But yeah, that is from a US perspective here. If you look at international news, it is not much better, with just a lot of democracy put at risk, unfortunately, in a lot of countries. You had a civil war in Sudan, you had a coup in Niger, so this is all Africa. But it's, actually that one is one that should have been mentioned in the previous one. Remember the wildfire, Canada? Yeah, that was 2023 as well. And they're showing a picture of the Statue of Liberty behind smoke. If you can see it here, that was the Canadian wildfire with all the smoke going over the northeast of the US. That was 2023 as well. Well, that came out of the world news here. Oh, a good one. India passes China as the world's most populous country. A country not to neglect. We always say China, thinking about the trade war and the tensions with the US, but India is so powerful. It is a big sleeping giant that has a nuclear weapon in addition. 1.43 billion people in India. That's not to neglect. What else do we have here in terms of foreign news? AI. Of course, AI. That should have been mentioned in the other two. It offers promises as well as peril, threats. Yes, it was the release of ChatGPT. I mean, that's a big game changer, right? And a big threat at the same time. All thinking who's going to lose their job over AI? Can what I do be replaced by AI? And some countries implementing rules, restriction, framework on how to use artificial intelligence. Others are still starting. But yeah. Oh, this one mentions Ukraine. Because it's like all news, Ukraine, yeah? 2022, that was just all, but it's still very much ongoing, right? We're all thinking Hamas, Israel, but Ukraine is still there. Well, yeah, the counteroffensive gains little ground at a heavy cost. Yeah. Russia has gained more territory. Russia has doubled the number of troops. Ukraine fatigue. Yeah, this is not very positive on Ukraine here, unfortunately. And that one, world news finishes with the global temperature shatter records. Yes, climate is a very big headline in both perspectives. But I wanted to mention something on migration here to finish the year. This is the French news. I'm not sure it reached it here, but it's a very good example of what's going on in terms of human trafficking. So we had an airplane. Let me find, I have the picture of that plane somewhere. I think I had it open. Anyway, it was an Airbus 340. So it's about 350 people. It's a long distance plane. It's not a small one. All white, no marking whatsoever, no airline, no nothing. And it was stopped in France. It departed from Dubai, UAE, and it was headed to Nicaragua, Central America. And it stopped in France, not in Paris main airport, in a smaller airport, really on the outside of Paris, an hour away, to fuel before crossing the Atlantic. And there was an anonymous tip that came in, and they stopped the plane, and the tip was on human trafficking. So they deboarded everybody of the plane, put them in a terminal, and they got stuck in a terminal for 4 days. They were all Indians. All of them, some being unaccompanied minor, that they could not get out of the terminal while the authorities were investigating, confirming it was human trafficking. They were being promised to be able, from Nicaragua, to go to North America. So it's not necessarily the US, it's North America. It included Canada as well. But they were there. So December 25th, we had, out of 303 Indian migrants, 25 filed in France for political asylum. They haven't won the case yet, but once they could not keep everybody in the terminal. So after 4 days on Christmas Day, some of them were released. These 25 that had filed for French asylum were released in France, even so they are illegal migrants. They are free to roam in the territory. The others were put back on the plane and sent back to India. But just an example of where, human trafficking and people traveling, all hoping to go to North America somewhere, somehow, like it's the promised land. So, example here, to finish end the year with the caravan heading to the border. But looking 2024, what do we have here? We got presidential election, of course, here. Let's see how many states are going to ban Trump, making it to the ballot, and what's going to happen here. And is Joe going to make it up to this November? But when you think about it, how old are they both? 78? Representing the American people? 78? Can we find better than grandpa here? I don't know. It's just both of them, without taking side here, is just elected for 4 years. It's, gosh, at that age, I'm thinking, relaxing on the sofa, watching TV, having a good glass of wine, enjoying life, right? Not waking up at 5 o'clock to go to talk to she about tension with, I don't know. Anyway, that's November. Before that, we have a big election. We have Russia in March, where Putin runs again. He officially announced it, not that it was a surprise. And according to most media, without being very smart, you pretty much know he's going to win, right? The way it is, it's a paper democracy, because it's based, the constitution is based on the French one, I believe, in Russia, in theory. And in theory, I think that per the French, you can run twice, be elected twice. For instance, Macron, it's his second term, he cannot run again. But Putin here can run again. It's all very flexible, especially if you're in power, So he's got one of his opponents that's in jail, I believe. He sent him on the northwest of Russia somewhere. The others that run against him, I think he has to approve them. Some of them actually don't want to run, because when you run, you're always kind of afraid for your life at the end, in case you do good, you don't want to win here. You want to stay alive. So it's better to laugh than anything else about it. But anyway, according to these articles I'm reading, he's very much expected to win, and he is already the longest serving president, longer than any other ruler since Joseph Stalin. So he had a little break in between his terms. He had a friend of his that ran the country for a few years, but it was his friend running the country. So he had a little vacation in between. But yes, so we have that one going on, and we have other elections. We got some ones there fighting in Senegal as well, in Africa. You've got 80 candidates that submitted their candidacy. Elections are in February, and the Supreme Court has to decide who's eligible, who's not. Yes, it's a big question. Democracy nowadays, what does it mean, you know? What does it mean? So we will see. 2024, we have a new president in Argentina that was elected not long ago, who wants to make a lot of changes. Let's see what's going to happen. He was a bit of one-off kind of Trump. They kind of associate him with Trump because he's not the usual politician and wanted to make a lot of change. He initially said he was going to go back to the US dollar. He was going to allow more migrants coming, like investors, sell some of the utilities, what already happened actually 25 years ago, and it didn't work. Who knows what's going to happen? He deflated anyway. He deflated the currency already, I think 40% or so on. So we'll see economically what's going to happen in Argentina. It's a pretty nice, big country with a lot of natural resources, like a lot of them. Mexico government is seizing some assets belonging to foreign companies at present in the energy sector. A very interesting world. We're finishing the year hot, and we're starting the new one even hotter, I think. So let me know in the comments below what you think. And if you enjoyed this video, as always, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. Thank you all for watching.